normally do in academic medicine, meeting, interchanging, challenging, being skeptical with one another. That is the lifeblood of academic medicine. And things were going great in March. This hit. We immediately took efforts. We thought it was going to hit Dallas. We started looking at things, how to configure our workforces. I went and got a large grant to study a prevention approach to protect our workers at our healthcare facility. And I worked with the FDA over a weekend to get an investigation into a drug application awarded in my name in order to test a prophylactic approach. And things were going great in March. And I can tell you, it wasn't but a few weeks into April on these task force calls. I was on routine health system calls once a week, and I was on one with the National Institutes of Health. And I asked a question. I said, when are we going to start to treat the problem? I go, people are getting sick out there. They're starting to be hospitalized. Some are dying. When are we going to start to treat patients? It's too late for the hospital's too late to treat people. It's obvious they're dying in the hospital. We must start early. And you could basically hear a pin drop on these calls. No one had an idea about treating COVID-19 at home.
Was there no thought about it? Was there no discussion, or was it just not a point of focus? Like, what was the problem there?
I think it was a grip of fear. Doctors, for the first time in their lives, felt like they could get the disease themselves if they actually saw and examined these patients. All the discussion was on personal protective equipment, hand sanitizer, negative airflow rooms. It was all about protecting the healthcare workers. There wasn't any focus on sick patients. And after the weeks went by, I became incredibly frustrated. I started communicating with our Italian colleagues. I said, what's going on? You guys are getting blasted in Milan. Is there anything we can do to treat patients at home and stop these hospitalizations?
This episode is brought to you by Onnit. If you want to help boost your cognitive function, including memory, mental speed, and focus, you must check out Onnit's brand new Alpha Brain Black Label. Alpha Brain Black Label is our latest and greatest. It is a dietary supplement that helps promote mental speed processing and laser focus for extreme productivity. That means more attention and alertness, as well as better cognition and vision. It's a brand new formula with a low dose of caffeine and L-theanine, offering a sense of motivation without nervousness or agitation. Alpha Brain Black Label is also formulated to help support macular care and blue light eye protection. Perfect for those subjected to long periods of electronic screen time. Go to onnit.com and use the code ROGAN to save cash on all the best supplements and nutrition products. That's onnit.com/Rogan. This episode is brought to you by ZipRecruiter. I bet you've heard there's a lot of jobs out there right now. But did you know that there are, in fact, over 10 million job openings with only 7.6 million unemployed job seekers? Ooh, so what's the deal? Well, it all comes down to a mismatch of employers and qualified talent. And if you've been looking for new employees these days, then you probably know the struggle. Can I offer you a massive signing bonus? How about insurance for your dog? Well, employers are having to go above and beyond to entice people to want to work for them. Well, ZipRecruiter uses powerful technology to find and match the right candidates up with your job. It's so effective that 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And now you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/Rogan. That's ZipRecruiter.com/ROGAN. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. We are brought to you by Black Rifle Coffee. You love coffee, you love America. Well, Black Rifle Coffee Company is the veteran-owned coffee company that serves premium coffee to patriots the whole world over. Featuring explosive roast profiles sourced from high-quality coffee beans out of South America. This coffee is roasted with mission-like focus 5 days a week in Manchester, Tennessee, and Salt Lake City, Utah. Along with every purchase you make, they give back. In 2020, they donated over 6 million cups of coffee to veteran, law enforcement, and first responder causes. Why go to the store when you can receive special discounted pricing on roasts and gain access to exclusive products, member-only content, and partner discounts, and more when you join the Black Rifle Coffee Club? Your chosen brew is roasted, packaged, and delivered free to your door on your schedule. It is the only coffee I drink at home and at the studio. Purchase at www.blackriflecoffee.com/Joe Rogan and use the code Joe Rogan at checkout for 20% off your purchase and your first coffee club order. This episode is brought to you by Zippo. It's game time, threatening 2 inches of rain. The wind won't let up. The opposition is watching your every move. Your team's looking at you expectantly as you stand at the grill. You need confidence. You're going to be able to light that sucker the first time. You want to tailgate with confidence. You're going to need the original windproof lighter. Zippo. Live with confidence. Go to zippo.com/flame and get 10% off any windproof lighter with the promo code FLAME. Some exclusions apply.
And were you alone with this concern? Were there other doctors that were joining you with this? And were there treatment protocols that had been put into place that were being tested?
There were no treatment protocols that emerged. We started looking at work done by Didier Riault in Marseille, France, by Vladimir Zelenko in Monroe, New York, and started communicating very early on with the Italians. And I had great relationships with the Italians in Milan. And what we had decided is we had decided on some principles early on. The first collaboration, and my contribution was really to get people together, get the ideas together, and publish. And I had the publication strength that other people didn't, and got the first organized ideas together in April, May, June. We submitted our paper July 1st to the American Journal of Medicine, which is one of the highly ranked journals in medicine. And it was published in August. And this is the first publication teaching doctors how to treat COVID-19 with a multi-drug regimen. And the ground rules were this. We knew it was insufficient time for large randomized trials. Those take 2 to 4 years. I lead large randomized trials. I've published in the New England Journal of Medicine. I know what this is about. I'm on steering committees. We don't have 2 to 4 years. This is a mass casualty situation. We use the precautionary principle, meaning that this is a mass casualty event. We can't wait. We're looking for drugs with a signal of benefit and acceptable safety. We knew very early on that this viral infection had 3 components. It was viral replication, cytokine storm or inflammation, and then thrombosis. So we know a single drug wasn't going to handle the problem. No way. It was going to be a multi-drug regimen, just like with HIV, just like with hepatitis C. No difference. Multi-drugs. So precautionary principle. We used signals of benefit, acceptable safety, drugs in a combination, test, retest, and go. And so at the time we submitted our paper, Joe, there was about 4,000 papers in the peer-reviewed literature on COVID-19. I'm sorry, check that. There was 55,000 papers in the peer-reviewed literature on COVID-19 and about 4,000 that could have related to certain drugs, but not a single one put the concepts together on how to treat patients.
So this was the first one, and it was published in August.
August of 2020, American Journal of Medicine, the title of the paper was The Pathophysiologic Rationale for the Early Ambulatory Treatment of COVID-19. That quickly after August spawned the Association of American Physicians and Surgeons Home Treatment Guide. So AAPS, interesting organization, it's independent doctors. They accept no money from pharmaceutical agencies. They've been around since 1943. They had early on sued the federal government to release the stockpile of hydroxychloroquine. U.S. had the right idea as other countries. They stockpiled hydroxychloroquine. Then there was the problem of it wasn't being released from the stockpile. And so during my development work early in 2020, I got a call from the White House. Peter Navarro called me. Said, listen, McCullough, can you help me get hydroxychloroquine released? Rick Bright and others in the FDA seem to be colluding to block hydroxychloroquine coming out of the stockpile. in Marseille, France, Didier Rial was working with hydroxychloroquine, and it was over the counter in France. They made a prescription, and they started making it hard for him to use. And then simultaneously in Australia, they had taken hydroxychloroquine, and they had put it up in Queensland as basically an untouchable drug. If a doctor attempted to use hydroxychloroquine to treat a COVID patient in early April, that doctor could be put in jail. So these things started happening early to try to prevent treatment of patients with COVID-19.
Why do you think that's the case? And why do you think that hydroxychloroquine would have been effective?
Well, 2006 forward, there were studies with hydroxychloroquine that demonstrated that it reduced replication of SARS-CoV-1, the first version of the SARS virus.
Yeah, we talked about that the other day. Wasn't it just chloroquine? Was it chloroquine or hydroxychloroquine?
Well, originally there was chloroquine, hydroxychloroquine, and mefloquine. So there's anti-malarials. They're similar in terms of their biochemical property, but they have three mechanisms of action. They increase the lysosomal pH, so when the particle is taken into the cell, it doesn't travel so well to the nucleus. They chloroquine or hydroxychloroquine bring in zinc. It's a zinc ionophore. Zinc goes in and actually antagonizes the RNA-dependent polymerase, which is needed for the virus to replicate. And then hydroxychloroquine is a well-known and established anti-inflammatory. We use it in lupus. We use it in rheumatoid arthritis. And it's obviously an intracellular anti-infective. We use it for the prevention of malaria.
Was the problem that there was a lot of problems with Donald Trump being in office, that when he would approve of something or when he would talk about something, people would attack that thing. And hydroxychloroquine became something that he talked of as a cure and talked about as a treatment for COVID. And then it became politicized. And then support for hydroxychloroquine became support for Trump. Would you think that that was accurate?
I'd have to look at the timeline. Boy, it was quick, because the backlash against hydroxychloroquine was so strong in Brazil and Australia.
Why do you think that is, though?
No, but the timing, the question is, did it happen before or after Trump said anything? It happened very quickly. Through the course of the year, it was extraordinary. Do you know the second largest producer of hydroxychloroquine, the plant was mysteriously burned down outside of Taipei? It was extraordinary what was going on. Doctors from Africa were telling us that there were some type of mercenary people raiding the pharmacies at night and burning the hydroxychloroquine.
Now, this is before the emergency use exemption or the emergency use authorization for the vaccines. The emergency use authorization, in order to have that, you cannot have effective treatments.
We have to be careful. The emergency use authorization is a new mechanism, or a previously unused mechanism for regulatory pathways of drugs. And my interpretation of it, and everybody's interpretation is fair game, so it's pretty loosely written, quite honestly, depends on indication. So a vaccine would